Welcome to the October 2021 Idea Share. So this is a group that has been going on for, well, a year and a half now or more. And although we don't meet as frequently, I think it's still extremely helpful to just connect with our fellow ministry leaders for encouragement and support and ideas. And I know I always take away something new each time. So let's just open it up. Who has a question or a praise or like a concern, or you just want to fill us in on what your ministry is up to, what your church is up to these days? Would anybody like to go first? Meekins.
I'll go. We'll go. You don't have a choice, do you? So we are just absolutely amazed at how God has opened up so many opportunities in the last couple of months. It's like, you know, people are like, okay, let's just pull out all the stops and let's get going. So we have our parent support group is growing by leaps and bounds, and they have been eager to get together. We've had more events in the last 2 months than we had in the last 2 years. So it's been a little crazy. Tom and I trying to figure out which one do we go to, which one do we not go to. So that's an amazing blessing. And they're getting loved and they're loving each other, which is what we wanted to create to begin with, that they could support one another. So that's been really cool. We get the opportunity to speak at an Awana conference this coming Saturday, and we get to do 3 workshops. And they say the numbers are down because the numbers are down everywhere. But, you know, if we get 3 people, we get one person in the room, and we can share things that are going to make a difference, and the ripple effect can be huge. You all know that. So we are thrilled about that. So we're going to Amy's going to do a little thing. She's doing more and more. Amy did a 45-minute talk for Wonderfully Made Conference, and we're still marveling over that. So our daughter Amy. So we're just, God is doing things, and we're just going along for the ride. So had to share that because it's been pretty exciting around here.
I love it. And I love your enthusiasm. This is great. This is such great encouragement. I love that. Things are happening and you're being obedient and you're going with it. And I just love it. So thank you for sharing that.
Okay, Julia and Tom, I will show up so I can be the one person in the room.
Oh, you will encourage us greatly, Sylvia.
I love it. I love it. So let's talk about numbers for a little bit. So we know that, and I'm guessing this is the case for all your churches, but nationwide attendance has declined since COVID. So I just like to hear from each of you what you're seeing. I'd be happy to share what's going on at my church. And do you see a difference between, your church as a whole, your disability ministry, whatever that looks like? What are you seeing out there? What kind of anecdotal what kind of numbers can we talk about, even though we don't want to talk about numbers, but I'm just curious where everybody is right now, if you know.
We'll talk a little bit about numbers at First Christian in Canton. We just had our what is our prom, we call it Cafe Disco, last weekend, and we had around 300 come to it, which was good. We've had as many as close to 1,000 come, pre-COVID. So we felt really comfortable and good with that number, just because there still is that concern, and we still had multiple people no show and cancel last minute. So all in all, I thought that was good. Sunday morning, our adult class, we're hovering around 50, probably pre-COVID, probably closer to 80. So not terribly far off, I don't think. I think church as a whole, attendance definitely is noticeably down. Children's ministry noticeably down, but I feel like we're holding the line fairly well at First Christian.
Okay, good, thank you. Anybody else?
Well, can I ask a question real quick, Ryan? So are you guys is anything going on to stay connected to those 30 people who aren't regularly showing up, or the 700 who didn't show up at your event who normally would? Like, is anything going on like in homes or in the community? I'm just curious.
Right. Yeah, I did a training for our church on how to reach those people that have chosen yet to return. And I'm actually doing a training for that at the Wonderfully Made conference called Navigating the Land in Between. So I'm going to give strategies on exactly how to do just that. So I don't know how well they've been implemented by the staff, but I know the pastor and the disability ministry pastor at First Christian Tim. And a couple of his people are really good at reaching out by phone and by letters, but I don't know as far as additional, touch points that they've done. Tim does multiple Zoom gatherings a week, so that's one way that I know he's trying to engage with those that don't feel comfortable yet returning. So yeah, between phone calls, letters in the mail, and Zoom meetings for them. That's kind of how they're attacking it currently.
Thanks. And for those of you who aren't familiar with the Wonderfully Made conference, that is happening as a virtual event this month. And you can register at, well, I'm going to say it's soarspecialneeds.org. You can find links.
It's Wonderfully Made KC.
Thank you. Yes, it is.
I'm sure there's a link off of SOAR also.
I'm sure there is too. Yes. Thank you, guys. Anybody else want to share?
I'll share.
Okay.
Well, nothing's happening. We did a 3-day tent revival, was under the tent for 3 services, and the tent is closed.
And so that's it? Like,
That's it. I told
still
you all.
no
Didn't I tell you all 2022? We would be
did.
back in that church.
You did say 2022, and I believe that's going to be accurate for you guys.
Yep, I believe it's going to be accurate as well. However, we have probably almost doubled in attendance and now have presence on 6 continents.
Wow. Wow.
We're looking for Antarctica, just to, there must be somebody
Gotta
there.
be somebody. Wow.
So I think that's what's driving where we're going to be and how we function. We've changed the service times. We used to have 3 services in the morning. Now we only have 2. We have a 9 o'clock and an 11:30. So that's changed the scope of how many people actually attend at any one service. And I have 3 Sunday school classes for special needs, children's class, a youth and young adult class, and an adult class, and then we do a social skills class. And all of those classes have increased in numbers, although the time change with the church services impacted because Sunday school and church is now running at the same time. So parents have to make a choice as to whether they're going to be, and now that we're not going to be under the tent anymore, then things should switch back again to parents and children attending Sunday school a little bit more. So we're just kind of all over the place, but we're adjusting. And we had a women's conference this weekend, and I think there were about 3,000 participants.
Virtual though, right? Is that
It was,
virtual?
everything was
Everything
virtual.
was
It
virtual.
was all virtual. Yeah, everything that we do is still pretty much virtual, except for the attempt to do the tent revival and stuff. But it's creating some challenges. I've also started a parents prayer group, where we started out with like 1 or 2 participants, and now we sometimes have 10 participants. Again, it's all virtual, but just coming together as a parent partnership and praying for the parents and the children and the community and the schools and everything. So we're just trying to expand how we do on this platform.
Right. Well, I commend you for hanging in there and continuing to be creative and, continuing to grow and do outreach. And yeah, that's tough. I mean, that's a long time to not be in person, for sure. Yeah. Anybody else want to share what's going on at their church these days? Al.
Well, I'm involved with Young Life Capernaum, but we're involved with different churches there. We are happy to be back together, meeting in person after a lot of online stuff during COVID. We're getting young people out there, and their parents are happy to be involved as well. We're finding a lot of our buddies have graduated high school and are in college now, so we're short on experienced buddies. So we're trying to figure out how to get them, but that's been a challenge. But we're getting new students coming out, and we work with a Catholic parish at one of them, and they're quite excited about helping with the parish and all that. So it's moving, but again, getting high school, college age buddies is a challenge. A lot of our buddies are in college now and not available. So we have to figure out how to.
In a year and a half, they moved on, right?
Yeah, it's strange. Like we were trying to figure that out last Wednesday where they all were, but they're all graduated now. So,
Yeah.
But with Key Club and other, there's kids that want to get their service hours in. So it's an opportunity, if we're creative in the high schools and things like that, to find young people that aren't even necessarily Christian, but they also get witnessed to as well by volunteering and things like that. So it's a interesting opportunity in that way.
I'm cracking up because the last week or so, clearly all of those student groups like Key Club and National Honor Society, apparently all their forms were due, because suddenly I'm getting this flurry of phone calls. Mrs. Golick, I need you to sign for the, respite event that I did in 2019 or whatever, things that they could have had my signature, for the last a year and a half. They were suddenly flocking to my doorstep this last week. But anyway, yes, here at my church, attendance overall is definitely still down. I don't know exact numbers, where maybe we're at 50% or something like that. The special needs ministry is still growing. Like, we just got a new family this weekend, so that's pretty cool. Most of my people are back. A few, aren't comfortable coming back yet, but most are. So yeah, so that's what's going on here. Anybody else want to share what's going on? Yeah, Allison.
Yes, but so in Pennsylvania, we seem to mirror a lot of what you're experiencing, Beth, in Ohio. So we have we probably went to about 60% attendance of churchwide when we reopened all our children's rooms for the first time in September. That's ebbed and flowed a little bit with a few breakouts locally, etc. Same issue with all the people now telling me, yes, I did volunteer hours in 2018 and 2019 Night to Shine, but I needed in 3 hours time.
One kid said, so I can bring my form for you to sign on Friday afternoon. Okay, I don't work Friday afternoon. Yeah.
I got an email from one on Thursday night at 8:30 p.m. The mum phoned me at 8:45 a.m. the next morning. Can I just check you got the email? And you will get it back by lunchtime today. Anyway, I did it. I was, actively encouraging them for the next night to shine. Yeah, just interesting that we did have the difference since last time we spoke is that I have actually hosted an in-person respite. Woohoo! Very exciting, and it worked really well. We were still outside. We had probably about 50% of the attendance we would have normally had. So we had about 24 families, about 50 kids, ranging from, again, all the new babies that have been born since COVID, or they were the little toddlers and now they're sort of preschool. You're like, oh, hello. So that, yeah, ranging from, I think we had a 1-year-old up to a 29-year-old. So that was exciting. And we're hosting a second one this Saturday, and it worked really well. We moved it a little bit earlier in the afternoon so that we could still give them 3.5 hours, but then they took the pizza away with them when they came for the pickup.
Nice.
So it's funny how you realize in an email that you're using language you didn't know existed before, curbside pickup of your children, and the pizza will be available as well, and everybody knew what to do.
Right.
We went with everybody wearing masks because even though we were outside, we wanted that to encourage as many of our special needs families as possible and as many of our volunteers. And we did. We had a good turnout of volunteers. And a similar situation, Al, where I was like, oh no, I've lost a whole tranche of my volunteers, my real stoic, always there, always giving their time, including my own daughter, who I nearly paid to come back from Ohio for the weekend. But she was like, maybe I'll come back for the next one, Mum. But what was encouraging was a lot of the parents, they've now got 14-year-olds saying, oh, I'd like to be involved in that. So it was actually really exciting. There were 4 families of younger children that came up, and I'm like, yes, this is my next generation. I've got some new. So I've only got 4, but I'm working on those 4 to bring some friends for this weekend. So it was exciting. I was glad to be back in person. Anybody got ideas of what to do in November? I will gladly take them, because I can do outdoors in October in Pennsylvania and then I'm done.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
not quite sure what step B is. But
Well, that's a good report. Thank you for sharing. Bronwyn.
I'll say from someone who can do ministry outdoors for a while, that's what we're doing. So we've been doing individual respite for families, and we've been doing it for families who cannot attend on Sundays for various reasons. A lot of it is due to maybe they're immune compromised and they can't be at church with the whole crew, but they could come, with 3 or 4 volunteers by themselves. So that's been actually really successful, and it's been really fun to kind of still engage all those families. And also individual respite, the volunteers get super pumped about that, because they're like, oh, I just get to come and hang out and eat pizza and we just play. This is great. So Allison, we have had kind of that next generation of volunteers coming in, kids maybe 2 years ago who were, in early junior high are now in kind of early high school, and they're ready to go. We have had a lot of that. And we have actually, our ministry grew quite a bit during COVID because word got out that we were providing at least something at our church. So we have, I'd say 40% of our families they don't attend on Sundays, but they do other things with our church. So it's been kind of an interesting way of getting them connected. But the volunteers, the ones that have come back and the new ones that have come up, have been super pumped. A lot of them are high schoolers, and they're like, this is just nice to do something outside of my regular life. And we've really stressed, when you're volunteering in inclusion and, in disability ministry, all you're doing is building a relationship. You don't have to hit these markers or milestones. We're not filling out an assessment for you. We're not grading you. And for kids in our community, that's really freeing for them. And so they're like, wow, this is really cool to just come, they'll come at 9:30 on a Sunday morning, and they say, it's just fun to come do something outside of my regular life and focus on something different and just play with a kid and have a lot of fun. And so I feel like it's almost been therapeutic for the volunteers, as well as our ministry has grown, and as we've had different ways for volunteers to engage. I didn't know what the volunteer situation would be like kind of once we got back in person. But yeah, it's been pretty awesome. we're definitely not going to be doing any big events anytime soon. We could do church. We're doing it all outdoors. We have like we built an outdoor campus. But definitely, I mean, come Christmas, we don't really know what's going to happen. But hopefully it's better than it was. So I don't know.
Well, let's talk about Christmas for a second. Does anybody have any specific plans for your ministry for Christmas? Or, is there anything that your church is doing specifically for the families and individuals that you serve? Okay, I'll go. So our church is doing on Christmas Eve, we're going to do, our regular, we're doing a family service and then just 2 regular services. And we are going to be indoors this year. I don't know, some of you might recall we were outdoors last year. It's really cold. So that's going to happen on Christmas Eve. But I pitched hey, let's do a sensory-friendly Christmas Eve service, and it got the green light. So yes, so I kind of need y'all to help me figure out what all should be included, like what defines a sensory friendly service. I mean, I have some ideas, but I would love to hear from all of you. And by the way, I did go back and listen to I think it was last October, we did talk about what we were going to do for Christmas last year, like when none of us were in our buildings. Or few of us were. But tell me, like, what does sensory friendly mean to you? So Bronwyn says, I think we're going to do a few drive-in services outdoors on Christmas Eve. It's okay, but not ideal for families or for individuals who really need that personal connection. Yeah, but at least you'll be able to do something that will gather people. Yeah. Anybody want to chime in on sensory friendly?
I know we have an awesome worship director that came actually during COVID at our church. And she has been really awesome about just, how do we make worship more accessible? And I feel like that sort of turned into making it's a little more sensory friendly. I feel like in the way of, we talk about accessibility, how loud is something? How do the lights move? Like, I feel like since she's come, when I've been in the service, I've noticed it just feels less stressful in a way. And so I think just having that personnel who are oriented to saying like, hey, how does this flow? Like, what does this actually feel like to be here? I think she's done a really good job of that. Like, wait, what does it actually feel like to be in a service? Neurotypical or not, right? Like, how does it feel? And so I think that was a good first step for our church to look at that and say, oh, wow, like there are some like kind of random chaotic, transitions or like, whatever. And so that's been really good.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. I love that. Anybody else? Like things I'm looking at are even the volume of the music, and it's not going to be in the sanctuary. It's going to be in a bunch of you have been to my church because of Inclusion Fusion Live, but it'll be in the other hall, so we can do very flexible seating, so we can accommodate wheelchairs better. Good, Haley, thank you. She says I usually have earplugs on hand just in case. That's a great idea. I want to keep the lights kind of up, but nothing jarring, but never go like completely dark. I just want there to be the feeling like it's okay if your child needs to walk around or vocalize, like it's okay. Like that's fine. Everybody's welcome. And I just want families to have that comfort, like just come. And I really see this as a huge outreach to the community. I mean, yes, we'll serve some families that are attending our church, but I see this as a big outreach. Ryan says, I'm reading behind you, Ability Ministry, are creating a video-driven Christmas lesson that we are hoping to release before the end of October. It is geared for teens and adults and will come with supplemental activities and a sign language video. Oh, cool. this could be used in a sensory friendly environment. Very cool. Thank you.
I know, Beth, you probably have already thought about this, but something for them to manipulate, some kind of fidgets or something on hand.
Yes.
And then again, I echo what Haley said about headphones. Those are the things that we see the most that can be a little disruptive and dysregulating for the children and adults with disabilities.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, yes. So I was actually picturing having like bringing a lot of some of those things that we use all the time in our classrooms, like bringing those down to the hall so that it's just available, and having my volunteers there just to assist families, and help. The other thing I would really like to do is, I want there to be, so a pastor is actually going to deliver the message. But I would love if there's some kind of something that we can hand out, maybe through different parts so that people can participate in some way. And that's when I went back and listened to our roundtable from last year to try to get some ideas. But, I'd love to make it a little bit interactive. So.
Our children's ministry, and you probably do this already, but our children's ministry often uses scarves because they're getting noise. And, then the kids can just kind of move them around and twirl them, and it doesn't hurt anybody.
Right.
For one thing, because if it's thrown, it's not going to hurt anybody.
Right.
And if somebody's hit with it, it's not going to hurt anything. And then it doesn't make any noise.
Yeah, I love that. Writing that one down. Thank you. Yeah.
So yesterday we had our junior hires in the main service. It was community. It's actually the first time we've done it since before COVID, I think. And we had, it's essentially like a bingo sheet. It was like, find the different things in the service. But my favorite one was draw the pastor preaching. And, we had like 20, like afterward, we looked through like all these 20 things, and it was like hilarious and awesome and just like really cool. But it was like draw those. And so I just think it was just a different way for kids to engage. And we had one that's like, draw our church logo that's in the program. Just like for the kids that really enjoy participating in that way, like it was really fun for them and they really liked it.
I love that. You're gonna have to text me a picture of what you had.
Oh yeah, no, I think I could even send you the document of what we did yesterday. And it was like, write down like 2 of your favorite worship songs from this time, it was the drawing a picture of the preacher was definitely the highlight of that whole thing.
Were you the pastor that day?
No, I wasn't. It was actually our lead pastor. But I went. He doesn't have any hair. He's like very prominently bald, and no matter all the illustrations, they all featured him very bald. Like, wow, everyone really picked up on that. So yeah, no, I'm preaching in a few weeks. I'm like, I wonder what they'll draw.
Yeah.
So.
Love it. That's a great idea. Anybody else on that topic?
Yeah. Well, talking about content, I don't know if you all have Christmas plays, but we are blessed. We were told by the one that's doing the costumes for our play that they wrote Amy into the play, and I go with her. And so the 2 of us have been written into the play. So if there's an opportunity for putting some of the disabled or special needs children into an existing program, that would be a blessing, not only to the participant, but to those who can relate to the disabled person. So it's the 50th anniversary that was supposed to happen last year, but it's going to happen this year, and we are so excited. It's going full force. It's called the Virginia Christmas Spectacular, and it's definitely spectacular. And and Julie even got a part in it this year.
That's awesome.
They caught me unaware.
That's great. I hope it ends up on YouTube. I'd like to be able to see it.
The past ones have been on YouTube, and even on our website, on the church website. I think some of the past.
Could they also get Hope Now TV?
Hope Now TV, yeah.
I don't know if that's just in this area or whatever, but yeah.
Yeah, it's online.
It will be definitely afterwards, after everyone pays for their tickets and the thing is all done.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
It'll be out.
Okay. Cool. Cool. All right. Any other on sensory friendly or Christmas? All right. Any other, what else is going on?
Sorry, I got my picture because I'm eating lunch. We have another meeting as soon as this one's over. But a project that we're really excited about, there's a couple big ones that we're working on in addition to the stuff that we're typically doing. And one of them is, and I think I've talked about this a little bit before, but we're getting closer to an actual launch, is an initiative to help churches either build their own or purchase a universal size changing station for their church.
Good.
So
Good.
it's taken a lot longer than we've wanted, but I really like the way this is coming together. I have DIY blueprints and plans on how churches can do that. And then I'll have some links to where you could buy some. And we're working on building up a scholarship fund to help pay for part of that for churches, because we know how expensive that can be. In addition to that, to try to help get this going, we wrote a short story and we're currently having it illustrated by an artist with Asperger's, and he's doing an awesome job. So this is just kind of a fun way to introduce the topic, because not a lot of people talk about it and it's hard to sometimes start a conversation with it. So it's a really fun story, and the illustrations are amazing. Once we get we're going to create a different website for this initiative because we want to take it beyond just churches, because most public spaces don't have universal changing stations. So super excited about that. I know Barb Stanley, who's not on this call.
I don't see her today, but she's usually on. Yeah.
She's getting ready to release one of her training videos on like bathroom talk and training for what to do in restrooms. So I think she's going to include a little information about our initiative. So be on the lookout. Hopefully this is probably going to be closer to like a November launch before we get this initiative off the ground, but really excited about it. Really excited to be able to help churches become truly accessible.
That's incredible. And I know like it has come up in this setting. And I remember one time it was like, I mean, it was like God's timing, because we were having a question at our church and then somebody else brought it up on one of these roundtables. So I'm glad that Ability Ministry is really going to push this forward and make that available for all of us. So I'm excited. We'll be on the lookout for that. And I'm sure Key Ministry would love to help, spread the word.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you.
Love to get churches everywhere.
Yeah.
Accessible.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, very needed for sure. Anybody else? Catherine, not to put you on the spot, but can you fill us in on Key Ministry has a bunch of kind of cool webinars coming up. Do you want to fill us in on those?
Sure. Yeah. So this week we are actually going to be talking with a parent who has an adult son who moved into a group home earlier this year. And, like I think probably for any parent, the decision was, a difficult one. Took a lot of thought, preparation, looking at all the different options. And so Yvonne's just going to share what she has learned with other parents who, kind of want to understand the thought process and why they landed on this kind of decision for their family. It's gone extremely well. I talk with Yvonne every week. She's a faithful member of our prayer team. So, I just hope that, all of you can either join or catch the replay when we post the video afterwards, and definitely share with your families that you support. Then we have a couple of webinars that are going to be dealing with the trauma that comes from sexual abuse. And obviously, this is a sensitive topic, but I think it's an important one that, that parents of kids that have disabilities are definitely not immune. Their families are not immune to this kind of abuse. And so we're going to have actually 2 different webinars on this. We're going to have the first one at the end of October. It's not on our schedule just yet, but hopefully will be in the next day or 2. And then we're going to have one on November 10th with Brianna Edwards. And she is a therapist, counselor. I'm not sure exactly what her title is without looking it up. But she works extensively with children who have gone through this kind of trauma. So I think, there's a lot of information that will be shared that will be helpful for parents and for churches, because, we don't want to, it's so much better to prevent rather than have to deal with the trauma aspect of, what that kind of abuse can bring. So I think there's going to be a lot of information that's helpful for churches and ministry leaders on both sides. So we hope you can join.
And you can register for all of those at keyministry.org/events. All right, thank you. I just want to bring everybody up to date on the chat, since those of you who are watching this on the replay can't see the chat. So Bronwyn asked asked Ryan if he knows if there's any liability or legal implications for making your own table versus purchasing one. Again, we're talking about the universal changing tables. And Ryan said definitely looking into that. They've built 4 of them at their church. Ryan's church is really big. He has a huge disability ministry. It's really fantastic. And their regular liability insurance covers that. So in addition to the DIY options, they are putting together some affordable other options where you can purchase. And and Bronwyn has some DIY folks, and so she's really interested in that option. So that's great. That's great. Anything else? Looking around. Yes, Diana, I was hoping to hear from you. How's it going there?
It's going well. We're back from, as some of you remember, we had a big flood when we had the freeze in Texas in February, and because of lack of supplies and other stuff. So we're excited. We're kind of already getting back to normal, but I did have a question for everybody here regarding Night to Shine. We did not do anything last year. And with hindsight, it probably was a good thing, because that was when we had the freeze and the flood. So, but we were really excited with going ahead with plans, and then found out a couple of weeks ago that it will only be not in person. So no in person. So I did get the go ahead. Last year, just things were so up in the air, but we have the budget. It's approved. We're going to do it, but I haven't heard anything, any guidelines or I've been trying to get a hold of, we have that our church has a new rep for Tim Tebow Foundation. So I haven't ever had a conversation with her. The one we'd had for the last 4 years left to stay home with her baby. So I just was wondering what's going on. What should I be doing? We've got the date, we've got the money, and now I'm like, what do I do?
So my guess is that we'll be, because my church is a Night to Shine church as well. And my guess is we'll be hearing guidelines from them soon. So stay tuned on that. I know they will give us guidelines. We know for sure that they'll be hosting the actual, like
the virtual
piece. Like we don't have to film any of that. I know that they are very much interested in people doing what they're calling the shine throughs, which is when people can drive their cars through like a parade and all that. Great for Texas, not so great for Ohio in February. But what our church did last year, which ended up being such a blessing for our volunteers and for the families and the participants and the caregivers. So we delivered. So we had our volunteer team personally deliver, and it was like a porch drop off kind of thing. Like nobody went in anybody's homes. But we delivered a gift bag. So it had the crown or the tiara, the corsage, all the goodies that you would normally get when attending a Night to Shine were all in the bag. And we made yard signs. and I forget what they said, but it had something like, I forget, but like a cool celebratory yard sign, like with the stakes and all that. So we hand delivered the yard sign and the gift bag to every single registrant. And then we mailed a DoorDash gift card to each caregiver. So to each household, I should say, to each household. And then for the group homes, we delivered a sign. We did goodie bags for each registrant who lived in the group home. And we also delivered a box of decorations, like streamers and some of the fun, like those foil things that you can, like, I don't know, fun decorations in the colors of Night to Shine. And then we also, I think, was there like a dessert tray or something? I forget. But so we did that to the group homes, and it was really, really fun to see their photos, because they got dressed up the night of and they had decorated their place with the decorations that we provided. And they really were able to, have a fun evening watching the live stream or whatever, simulated live stream. So it worked out really well. And I guess we'll be doing something similar this year, although we too are waiting for the guidelines. Yeah. Anybody else have anything to say about Night to Shine? Yeah, Sylvia.
Yeah, we did Night to Shine as well. Had similar events like you did, but we also did, everything in our life is virtual. So we had virtual Zoom rooms where we had various rooms set up. We had a DJ, we had a photographer, just different places. We had a game room. All of the things that we previously had done in person, we did virtually.
On that Friday night?
On that Friday night.
Okay.
Yeah. We had, as you said, we had packed their bags with all the things that they would normally get. Put snacks, just filled up a snack bag. Like we had 4 bags that we sent to them, or we did drive-bys as well. We had our volunteers drive by and give it to them. So we had some decorations in everybody's bag, and the parents, we were so impressed with the families. They had in their homes decorated with balloon arches.
Wow.
Everything that you could possibly think of. They had their tables decorated with the colors and stuff, dressed up in their, gowns and everything. So we just made it like a in-home virtual Night to Shine. Everybody just logged in. We had a link for them to log into, and then just assign them to rotate through the breakout rooms.
Wow, that's really cool. Some families shared pictures with us, and it was really cool to see. There were some like candlelight dinner, dinners going on that they had used the DoorDash gift card to, get whatever. But it was really nice, like the families that did kind of go all out and make it a big event. So.
We also had people from out of state. So like you, we mailed packages to the same thing that everybody in state got, the out of state people got. So
nice. And since the Tebow Foundation was doing the programming piece, you can have people outside your area. Yeah. Allison.
We did a little bit of all of that. We did deliver to some families that couldn't come to the shine through, and then we did Zooms on the night. We did a quiet room that was really successful. Actually, that was really popular. We had 75 people in a dance party. about 25 people at a quiz night, and then the karaoke, there were about 50 people at karaoke. So yeah, that went really well. And in fact, I know this year I think I would extend the length of time that we did those for, because I was trying to do it as a little bit of a warm-up, but I think actually they really enjoyed that, and then were sort of pumped up to watch the Tim Tebow video. But we did do a shine through. Admittedly, it was freezing cold, had to push snow out of the way to get the cars through, but it was actually really successful. And what the highlight for me was that I actually got to say hello and greet and chat with every single family that drove through. So that to me was my biggest highlight. We did similar sort of style of goodie bags for the kids. In the drive-through, Sylvia, Diana, they physically drove through our parking lot, and then we sort of decked out the main sort of carport, and we had on screen recorded paparazzi. We had real life paparazzi with pom-poms. We had a live DJ. The live DJ was just awesome because we all just danced. All the volunteers that were there the whole time were just dancing all day to keep us warm predominantly, but and that was definitely a highlight. But then they also we took photographs of them as well at that point. And there was one group, there were about 6 parents that had coordinated to come together. They'd all been home, had not been able to get out at all with their kids. So for them, it was like a mini outing just to come for this shine through. They absolutely loved it. They all had older children that were in motorized wheelchairs or something. So they were in sort of specially decked out vehicles, and they decorated their cars and vans. That was just brilliant. They were awesome. But one other thing we did for the parents, but I like the DoorDash, we might do that this year. We did Redbox gift cards for like the coupons for the parents, so they could, and we'd give them like popcorn and snacks so they could like have a night in. So yeah, similar themes all the way through, but yeah, it was super fun, Diana, and I'm super excited for this year.
Well, you're inspiring me about the shine through, because right from the get-go we're like, yeah, we're not doing a shine through in February, but now you're making me want to do one, so we'll see. I just when they showed the picture of it and they showed like gymnasts in their leotards out there, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, no, I had a wool coat on. I did not have a leotard.
Anybody else? Show of hands. Anybody else doing Night to Shine? Okay. So okay. It's a couple. All right.
I just want to say that you all are very precious people. And it is our honor, honestly, to come to these idea shares, because I'm going to be all teary now. But you are doing it. You are being the obedient ones. You were talking about that earlier, Beth, and what an inspiration that you are to each other and to us to keep going. No matter what there's so many varieties of things that are going on of what you can do and what you can't do in the various states, but you just keep plugging through, every single one of you, and you're such an inspiration to us. So just keep going. We love you.
Back at you, Meekins. Back at you. Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, I think that's a good place to end it right there. So until next time. So we will do this again first Monday in November. And by then, I'm sure anybody who's doing Night to Shine, I'm sure we will have more info by then. And yes, happy birthday to Al. We so appreciate you. And yeah, have a great, oh, thank you, Karina. So this was her first meeting. Well, welcome. We can't wait to have you back again. So, all right, everybody, we'll have a good month, and we might see you on another roundtable between now and then, but if not, we'll see you next month. Bye, everybody.